If they make a mistake of allowing the UDA brigade to take over the reins of power in this country, they will be allowing the country to take the Uganda direction. Because we knew all along that President Ruto was envious of the record that has been set by his close friend Yoweri Museveni across the borders. So, but we want to caution really this early in the day, even though we know they are simply testing the waters. We want to caution very, very strongly that any attempt to create a life presidency in this country, like the one we see obtaining in Uganda, shall be resisted vigorously by the people of Kenya. And therefore, to the person who is sending these surrogates, we are now addressing you. The person sending these surrogates to test the waters, we want to warn you that we are closely monitoring your moves.
That is not the position of the party. And I speak that with authority, that there is no such thinking that we need to review the constitution to extend the term limit. In any case, by the way, I mean, such is not the discussion to put right now. The president is on record several times having spoken that he needs to push legislation that befits the plan. You know, we are talking about NSSF, we are talking about the savings scheme, we are talking about the housing projects, and that is what is in the floor of the House now as we are discussing. You know, that whatever that is in the House is about the common mwananchi. It's about how we are able to mitigate this job, you know, insufficiency, job availability in this country. And it's not about extension of term limit. By the way, if that one comes to the floor of the House, we will reject it. I speak that as a majority party whip. We will not admit anything to do with the extension of term limits. And the president has no such in mind.
The way things Kenya Kwanza is doing now is not the way government operates. Because everyone, like some disgruntled militia, is giving roadside declaration anywhere and anyhow. But secondly, this issue of term limit, I want to advise UDA and Kenya Kwanza in general, as an advice, that it is too early to test the waters with that kind of statement. Kenyans are suffering. There is drought, there is hunger, there are myriad of problems in our country. Cost of living. We know ourselves as politicians. You send a small squirrel to test for you the waters, whether there is maize in the granary. We know each other. That's what the young man was doing. But I want to advise them that they can postpone that for another day. We know it is coming, and we are waiting for it. We know one day, before this term ends, that matter will come, either through parliament or through any other means. We are waiting for it. But the only advice we want to issue now, as colleagues in politics, it is too early to talk about that.
Fafi Member of Parliament does not have the local standard to speak on behalf of the president. He has no local standard to speak on behalf of Kenya Kwanza. He has no local standard to speak other than to speak for his own people in Fafi. And with that story, we need to put an end to that discussion. There is no such discussion within Kenya Kwanza coalition. It is utter imaginary. I call it fantasy thinking. It is fake as it looks. And I think he's earned his popularity as he wanted, but it can't get to the floor of this House.
Thank you, Leader. Dr. Gogo, I want to make specific mention to Dr. Ruto as the President of the Republic of Kenya. I'm just curious, when Ruto literally abandons university lecturers and the university system that gave him or conferred an honorary degree on him the other day, how can somebody say that they are even thinking of not funding our universities when the funding that is going to the universities is so menial, it's not even enough. Our lecturers cannot do research, and a country is developed through research and innovation. So how can somebody, he had better put his men and women in order. They should not just go yapping everywhere. We need a cohesive society, as it were. People have come from a very grueling election, and what we need right now is one Kenya with working leaders. Issues of wanting to say term limit, and you have not worked. What do you want to limit this term to if it's not for work? So those people who are around the president who want to keep this country hot, we are tired. We want our people developed. We want food supplied to women and children who are suffering. Women need water. We need our roads done. Don't put our few, the people who are running KQ, the few who are employed there, don't throw them to the dustbin without jobs. Young people are looking for something to do. Can you put your house in order? As it comes to opposition, we are going to play a serious role in opposition. There are people who are also moving around trying to hoodwink and saying that we are ready to work with you. I hear some of them come from the greater side of Nyanza and in the lake. I want to take this platform and advise them. Nobody has said that they are not going to work with Ruto. Ruto is the president, and that is why we are holding him to account. The buck stops with him, and he had better hold the country together and make his men shut up. We are tired of very many words, and what we want is work, work, and work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before Honorable Sosi says something, and my other colleagues, I've been asked to comment on the issue of the term limit. To dilute what Honorable Kenyatta said. You know, during the campaigns, we kept on reminding Kenyans that if they make a mistake of allowing the UDA brigade to take over the reins of power in this country, they will be allowing the country to take the Uganda direction. Because we knew all along that President Ruto was envious of the record that has been set by his close friend Yoweri Museveni across the borders. So, but we want to caution really this early in the day, even though we know they are simply testing the waters. We want to caution very, very strongly that any attempt to create a life presidency in this country, like the one we see obtaining in Uganda, shall be resisted vigorously by the people of Kenya. And therefore, to the person who is sending these surrogates, we are now addressing you. The person sending these surrogates to test the waters, we want to warn you that we are closely monitoring your moves. And we shall not allow you to succeed in these very devious schemes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think mine is just to add on to what my colleagues have said, that we are asking the UDA administration to work for Kenyans and to stop all these shenanigans they are involved in. The other day I saw the president donating food to Somalia, and yet our own Kenyans are dying of hunger. That tells you clearly how this government is confused, and I think we don't have a government. What we have is we have a one-man show who is controlling every ministry, who is directing everything, and is doing that through roadside declaration. So the era of roadside declaration has come back. This era ended during KANU time. But now, KANU somehow has been revived through UDA, and they are making roadside declaration. Yes. We are saying that we will continue piling pressure on them, yes, and we will not accept the change of the constitution to increase the term limit for the president. And no wonder Ruto is a friend of Museveni. He is now reading from Museveni's power book, because this is how it started in Uganda. One MP comes up and says, then some other people talk about it, and the next thing you hear that the constitution has been changed. No wonder he's moving in regions buying people, buying MPs, so that he can push this amendment through parliamentary initiative. We are telling him, we are watching you, and we will not allow you to amend the constitution, pengine ubadilishe ile ya Sugoi.
Thank you very much.
You know, in Uganda, first they changed the constitution first, and changed it to age limit. And in the end, they changed the age limit again. Because that person who was changing himself for himself to remove the term limit ended up growing older. So age caught up with him. So first he removed the term limit. He thought that he's young now, he can stay. And then changed to age limit. Then he ended up reaching that age limit. Then he had to remove the age limit. So I want to advise Oda that even that age you want to bring, you'll end up reaching there. So I don't know whether you'll end up removing the age limit also, so that you continue ruling until you die. Thank you very much. You want to say something?
Let me just say something very